Hello and welcome back to successWerk, the Success Factory. My name is Felix Becker and I am your success coach on this journey we call life. Now, as you know, I've been sharing conversations with you I've had with other coaches to share with you the magic and the power of coaching, what it takes to unleash your genius, how you too can transform with a good coach by your side. This week is not any different. My conversation with Danielle Cosme touched upon yoga and spirituality, Buddhism, coaching, and what it takes to be a human being in today's world. How to be a good human being, how to make a difference, how to find your own place in life. It was an incredible conversation with so many different twists and turns that I could have never anticipated. We touched upon topics that, frankly, I knew nothing about, and I learned so much from this conversation, and I hope you do the same. As before, if you want to connect with Danielle or myself, the contact information is in the description below. If you like this stuff, please like and subscribe. Share this episode with your friends who you think could benefit, because the more people we can reach, the more people we can help. But with all that out of the way, here is my conversation with Danielle Cosme. Well, Danielle, so nice to see you. So awesome to connect with you. Let's get right into it. Who are you?
All right. Other than a human being, I'm a life coach, a yoga teacher. I also teach meditation, and I'm a sound practitioner.
A what practitioner?
A sound practitioner.
Sound
So I
practitioner. What
do
does that include?
sound healing. So playing like crystal bowls and, Himalayan bowls, pyramids, crystal stuff, musical instruments, to really just induce healing within the body. And how you do that is you hit the instrument, it creates the sound. And then from that sound frequency, it goes into our crystalline structure, which is the bones. That's what our bones are made out of. And then it harmonizes them. And then that's what creates that power of healing.
Very interesting. All right. So, how did you end up doing all these wonderful things?
You know, it, Life just brought me to it. It all really started off with yoga. I was always in and out of yoga, in and out of yoga. And then I finally got back to it, I would say like 2 years ago, consistently showing up on my mat, having a daily practice. And I started the teacher training. So I became the yoga teacher. And from there, it's like, okay, well, what next, right? Because everyone's like, oh, you should be a therapist. You're so good at giving advice. But I'm like, I don't really want to listen to people and their past and their problems, because I'm the type of person where, okay, I have an issue and I'm going to move forward. So I want to help people move forward in life, not necessarily stay back and hold themselves, as a victim instead of someone propelling forward and doing something about it. So that's where I came into life coaching. And then on just like meditation is even prior to yoga and life coaching. um, I'm a Buddhist layperson, so I took the precepts, and I've learned meditation through the nuns and monks at the temple.
Very cool. So, you're in Pennsylvania.
I am.
Are you from Pennsylvania? Or
I
is
am
that how
from
you?
Pennsylvania. I'm an hour or so north of Philadelphia.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I was looking at your profile and I did my surgical training in Abington. So, I'm familiar with that area. So, that's so cool to connect again with people from there. I
Yes.
spent 5 years of my life there, and that still has obviously a very special place in my heart, because that was such a formative year for my own professional career. So,
Mm.
that's awesome. So, have you ever left Pennsylvania to do any of this training somewhere else, or has that always been
No,
locally?
I've moved other places. Like I used to live in Philly, I used to live in Reading, I used to live in Allentown. But my training is all based around where I am, because that's convenient for me. It's like you're going to drive here, you're going to move here, right? So um, the most immediate options I took. And, it's a daily practice. So it's like I don't want to have to, drive over an hour and a half to go to a temple, right? When there's a temple literally a half hour down the street from me. or a yoga studio 15 minutes down the street from me. And some courses I take online, right? And you can just meet everyone from around the world. One of the benefits of technology.
Yes, that's so true.
Yeah.
It's so interesting to say, for you to say that there's a temple like half an hour from your house. I
Mhm.
don't remember ever when I was living in that area that Buddhism was a huge thing. At least, certainly not people that I connected with or came across. So, how big is it? Is it
It
like in
isn't.
the underground, or
It
like what's
isn't.
going on there? How did you
Uh,
connect it with them?
well, how I got connected to it is I was going to school for something completely different than what I'm doing right now. And I was I think it was socioeconomic class or something like that. I was in the honors class. And we had to, for one of the tests, we had to go to a different religion than our own. And at the time, mine was Christianity. So I went to the Buddhist temple because that was like closest in relation to all the other temples. Like we have a Hindu temple, like in Coopersburg or something. There's a lot of other temples, but this Buddhist temple was the closest in relation to where I live. I'm like, oh well, I do believe these things that the Buddhists teach and believe, so it was kind of like a dual purpose for me. So I went, I said, hey, I'm here for a project. I need to just be here and see how you do things. And then I'm also here for my own practice. Um, and then the rest of it is history. I literally showed up every single Sunday because normally they're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Everyone shows up once and then never shows up again. Do you know how many Americans I've seen and gone and never come back? So it's like, okay, sure, we won't believe you until you actually continue to show up. So since 2017, I took the precepts and I go every week, twice a week for the meditation. So, we do every year for, the Chinese New Year, they do like a show. So I'm a part of like the fashion show every year. That's on YouTube, fun stuff. So, just exciting stuff. And that, again, just really jumpstart me into aligning myself to where I need to be right now.
Yeah, that's fascinating. So I don't understand the precepts. It's a world that I know nothing about. So help me understand.
Absolutely. So are the five precepts are kind of like the Ten Commandments in Christianity rather. So it's kind of almost like being baptized. And so it's you're taking an oath to not kill, not lie, not take any intoxicants. Um, don't, I said that already. No, like cheating. And then there's one more because I forget what I said. But I always forget the one. But it's kind of like the Ten Commandments. So that's basically what they mean, and I took it very seriously because it's in Christianity you're born into it, right? So it's something you're kind of like made to think and do, as opposed to I made a conscious decision to do these things. So it's like you're more inclined to actually take it seriously because you made that choice to do so, as opposed to saying, okay, well, this is what you need to do because this is what we do. And that's not the type of person I am. So,
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think that's very noble too to say, I chose this as opposed to this was chosen for me.
hmm
But those five tenets, these precepts,
hmm
they're very basic ways of how everyone should live. All right, I am back. All right, coming back to my question after that little snafu, why do you think we need religion or some kind of spiritual grouping to create these tenets, these precepts, these rules, these commandments for us? Why is it not innate to us humans to be good and do good in the world?
I don't believe we need religion or anything that keeps us in a container because it is within our own abilities. It is just taken out of us because of society. If you look back in culture, they kill, they have mass genocide, they change what you're supposed to be because they don't want it to be. So they have more power over the people. And the more people fear, the more they are able to manipulate and control the situation. Whereas if people were conscious, like back in the golden era, and actually had meditation and actually stood by our humane principles of life, then it would be so much better than what it is right now.
And yet, if you think about it, the vast majority of the world, in some way or another, follows some kind of religion, right? It depends on which corner of the world you're in.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the there's really three things that every human society has in common. One of those three things is some form of religion or spiritual practice.
Mm-hmm.
So it's I feel like it's something that, I agree with you. We don't need religion, right? We could just choose to be good people, but
Mm-hmm.
we still have religion. A lot of people find religion or that spiritual aspect important,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm wondering why that is. Why do we need that external stimulus? Why can't we internally be motivated to be good and do good?
Again, it's all on society and how they want to manipulate and control us, right? Because if we learned how to learn peace within ourselves, then you are least likely to be manipulated and controlled because you understand that what one person goes through is not personally to you. So you would not attach yourself to how that person is reacting to you rather than you would respond to them because you have an understanding. Just like the vast majority of people who are religious are afraid. Those who have a spiritual or conscious um, practice, they are more open to different concepts than those of religion. They are closed minded and say this is what it is and that's all it is.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree. Um, so what got you into that space? Like what made you open up to that and to be a good person? What was there a specific life event? Is this how you were raised, how your family is? When you come from a different religion, you came from Christianity and you chose Buddhism. So what was there, like a specific life event other than going for the school project, or is there what is it that made you decide to follow in these footsteps?
Other than being born this way, my family was very religious, but they, again, in religion, you have the no killing, the no stealing, the no cheating. You have all of that, right? So, regardless of what religion you're going after, um, my father grew up Mennonite. My mother grew up Catholic. Together, they became UCC and then they went to a Lutheran church. So I saw different aspects of religion. I have friends who are Muslim. I have, I'm in the Buddhist sect. I'm also doing yoga, which is Hindu. So I'm well adversed in different religions and I have an open mind and I can see the similarities and it's all saying the same thing. It's just different wording on how to get to where, this enlightenment, this Christ consciousness, this epipheal being, right? Um, but the base of our human character is literally all the same. And people who say, oh, well, this is different because you don't understand the concept. You're looking at it. Be sure we're all different, but would you want everyone to be the exact same? What do you want everyone to look like me, be like me? No, that'd be boring. That's why everyone is different, but we're the same. And that's where people get the confusion because they look on the outside as opposed to the inside. I was a young child trying to explain this. However, our society again makes us, those who are young, oh, they don't know anything. They're, young, dumb, they haven't lived life. And yet you have an 80-year-old that has no concept of what you can even talk about. I remember I was at the dealership the one day and I asked this older gentleman, he was probably in his 80s, and I was like, so tell me, what's one thing that you've learned in your life? And that man looked at me stumped. I was like, oh, I see. This is the first time anyone has ever asked you that question. And he just looks at me bewildered, like, yeah, like he didn't even know. So there's a lot of people where, again, age means nothing. Labels mean nothing. It's what you go through in life, it's what you experience, it's how you move forward in life, it's your purpose in life, it's your choice in life. When people say you don't have a choice, you do have a choice. You can either hate or love, and quite frankly, love is more encompassing than hate. Love builds, hate destroys.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I think coming back to what you were saying even at the beginning of the conversation when I asked you who you were, and you said you're human, and it comes back to that human experience. That's one thing that I'm trying to actually do with this podcast as well. Get people back to that human experience. And if you look at today's world with all this wonderful technology that we have, it really distracts from what it takes to
Mm,
be a human being at the very basic level. So,
mm.
from your experience, what do you think we all can do better? What is like the one thing we all could do better to get back to the basics, to get back to what it takes to be a human being?
My number one rule that I practice as much as I humanly can: do unto others as you would like done to yourself. So even if someone puts you down and treats you like shit, understand that that's their inner turmoil and their inner struggles. But what would you want someone to respond when, sure, you can be vengeful, but is that going to be beneficial? No, especially for you. That's going to create dis-ease, hate. It's not going to get you where you need to be as a human, right? You're not going to be loving. You're going to be hateful. You're going to be fearful. So allow people to just be as they are and be that safe place where they can express themselves. Because a lot of people are hurt because they don't know how to respond to their own emotions because they're told you need to shove all of that down because you're too excessive with it. You need to be neutral. Well, we're here to have an experience. In order to experience, we must go through the emotions, whether how high or low, intense, not intense they are. But this is the whole point of being a human. So to deflect how you are supposed to be and what people want you to be is kind of counterintuitive. So I would say, again, treat the people the way that you would want to be treated in every situation. Understand that people are having an off day, right? When you have an off day, how would you want someone to treat you?
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I always tell my kids, if somebody yells at you, it's not about you, it's about them, whatever they're going through that day. You're just the outlet. So I don't want you to feel bad for yourself or something you did if somebody yells at you, whether that's your mom, it's me, it's a teacher, whoever. It's about them and they're going through some struggle and they just are looking for an outlet. Now, it's not obviously the best way to do it, but everybody naturally does that. And so I agree with you on that. We all have struggles. We all have that turmoil inside of us. So speaking then of these struggles and these turmoils, I feel like I can get a sense for where coaching comes in for you. But coming from yoga to Buddhism, meditation to coaching, what was that story like? How did you end up in coaching?
Coaching, I was at yoga, and this guy he was doing, he's a Kundalini teacher. He was talking about how he was, joining Lumia and doing coaching, and I was like, oh wow, this sounds like me, like this just sounds like something I could do. So I went home later that day. researched, and I'm like, yeah, this is cool. So I made a call with him. I just asked him, what is this like? Where did you go? And then I'm like, oh, this is great. And then after teacher training, because one thing at a time, right? Let's get that out of the way. So after teacher training, I enrolled in coaching, and I completed the program this past May. So, and I opened up my business this December. So, it's been one hell of a ride, and I'm grateful and I appreciate the fact that I'm creating the life that I always envisioned, and one that's free, where I can create my own schedule, and yet I can inspire people to do the same, to you, be better people, and not be afraid to not live the way that they want to live, because that's where a lot of people are, just afraid of moving forward and not knowing what to do, using drugs or addictions of any type, as a way of, as an escape. But it's like, I've been there too, and at the end of the day, your purpose has to scream louder than your addiction or any issue or any problem. And I can tell you, meditation is the number one thing that ultimately led me to here. My daily practice of meditation, because that's what really calms me down, brings me centered, and just allows me to just breathe.
I've dabbled with meditation a little bit, and a good friend of mine is very big on heart centric meditation. So I'm curious, what kind of meditation are you practicing? When you talk about meditation, I feel like that could mean so many different things to different people. So where you stand with that?
It's traditional meditation. It's what they teach at the temples in any really religion. uh, I should say in Hinduism or Buddhism, meditations are more so just connecting with the breath and focusing on the third eye and turning inwards and just repeating the process. Of course, there's going to be thoughts. Of course, we're always going to have thoughts because we're in different parts of our journey. Some days it's going to be better than others. Just allowing and accepting those thoughts, but then coming right back to the breath and the third eye as soon as you realize what's going on. But don't be angry at yourself, right? Because we're just getting into the practice, because what does perfection look like? That's not the point of meditation. The meditation is to let go of everything. And so that's what I practice as my meditation.
So for people who are not well versed in meditation, like myself, but are curious and interested and maybe want to incorporate more of it in their lives, where should we start?
I would say just start by setting your alarm for like 10 minutes and focus on the inhale and then the exhale. Notice how your stomach rises, falls. Notice the breath, how it makes your nostrils feel cold, warm. Are they dry? Is it moist? Notice all of the sensations within you, the body. And then once you're able to do that, your body will naturally relax. And then just rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat the whole time. If your monkey mind just starts going, like, okay, I acknowledge you, and then just get back to the breathing. Don't be like, oh my God, why am I having these thoughts? That's a natural process. That's why we're having those thoughts, right? So just always remember to go back to the breathing and be mindful and aware of what's going on with you and your body.
All right. Yeah, I've done a little bit of that. I feel like that's sort of where I'm starting with my meditation. If anything, is focusing on that breath, as
Mm.
you mentioned. Now, you also mentioned the third eye, and that is not something I heard before. So, what is the third eye?
So your third eye is the sixth chakra. So that would be in between your eyebrow. So when you close your eye, you just focus all of your energy up in between your eyebrows. And that's really where your sensory organ, your visualization, that's where all of that happens.
Gotcha. Okay.
Mhm.
Very cool. Let's get back to coaching for a second. So, the Dragon Gem Life.
Mhm.
What's behind the name? What's a Dragon Gem?
So, the dragon gem is literally what we've been just talking about. So, the dragon has multiple meanings. So, let's start with the dragon as in the serpent, right? Well, let's start with what it means. The dragon symbolizes willpower and strength. In Kundalini Yoga represents a serpent, and the serpent is the energy that rises up the spine. So you're inevitably going to become enlightened. So it's going up your chakra system from your root to your sacral to your solar plexus to your heart to your throat to your third eye and to your crown and beyond, and it goes up through your spine. So the dragon symbolizes the serpent in Kundalini Yoga. The dragon is also one of the 8 guardians in Buddhism. The gem is also the triple gem, and that's in Buddhism. The triple gem in Buddhism is the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. The Buddha represents light, the Dharma represents the law, the Sangha represents the community. But the acronym GEM stands for is ground, exist, and master.
Hmm. All right. So you got to tell me about that. Ground, exist, and master.
Mhm.
I'm intrigued.
So, the steps to mastery, we first must ground ourselves, right? And we do that through meditation. Learning to exist, and then we will master ourselves. Because the only way
Gotcha.
we are able to master ourselves is if we ground, learn to exist. Because everyone's all, oh, I have to ascend, but we have to ground first. We have to learn how to exist first. We have to know how to be first in order to master ourselves in order to ascend.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you for explaining that. But that now that you describe it like that, it makes absolute sense. So, it sounds very much grounded also in some of these Buddhist philosophies.
Hmm.
So, what does that look like from a coaching world? Because, for the most part, I know ICF coaching a lot, but I'm
Hmm.
really intrigued how you incorporate some of these Buddhist philosophies and the meditation into your own coaching practice. Like, how do you make that your own? How do you incorporate that? How does it help your clients out?
So the first 5 or 10 minutes or so, I'll really just have just a little, how are you doing? Just to get them talking and, a little bit relaxed. And then I just ask them 3 things that they're grateful for. And then, well, no, 3 things that they are, that happened to them that, they was positive for the week. And then 5 things that they're grateful for. And then after that, I'll just ask them if it's all right if we just take a few minutes to just sit here, close our eyes, do like a little grounding meditation, just breathing in and breathing out, just really focusing on grounding and centering themselves. That way, we can just get into the coaching and they're at a more positive, more grateful, and more grounded human. This way, they can actually work on the blockages the way that they're intended to and be more open and receptive to the change and have more motivation afterwards.
Yeah, no, I think that's wonderful. I started doing some of that grounding in my own coaching practice at the beginning of every session, just to get people back into a calm state of mind, and trying to get them back into their own undistracted self. So I love that. That's awesome. That's fantastic. Um, so who are the people that you want to work with? Who are the people that should reach out to you to work with you through all that? What are their problems? Who are they? Where do they come from?
The people who are kind of like running around with her like a chicken with her head cut off, right? It's like, well, I don't know what to do next. Well, come here. I'll help you. We'll sit it down, we'll ground you, and we'll work through your, you know, goals together so we can get you to where you need to go. Those that are disciplined, or at least trying to change that habit to make it so that they are disciplined, they are more accountable, someone who is motivated for that change, someone who is open to that change and willing to be in their uncomfortableness so that they can get through their fears, excuse me, and they're able to, again, propel themselves forward so they can reach their highest potential. So they're always vibing in a higher place as opposed to always, having that negative mindset, right? So it's the people who are willing for the change. For
Yeah. No, I could sort of relate to that. I mean, I think a lot of the people that I've worked with over the last year are those lost souls who are looking for purpose. They're looking for meaning. They're trying to figure out what it takes to be a human being in today's world. So I think you and I are solving the same problems just from a very different perspective, and it's fascinating to hear that from you. So I want to paint some more color on Danielle. Who really is Danielle? So I want to ask you some questions that are part of a networking book that I put together on some questions on how to network better. But I want to just get a bit better picture for who Danielle is as a person. So, what is a place you haven't been yet but really want to visit?
There's so many.
I'll pick one.
Um, okay, which one comes to my mind first? Let's go with Thailand.
Ooh, what's in Thailand?
They have a lot of yoga retreats. I see, and a lot of it is a Buddhism too, or any really Asian culture, even like Nepal and Bali. They just have beautiful landscapes. I always want to visit like the temples. It's always like green there, and it just looks so beautiful and peaceful. And I just want a taste of what that looks like.
Yeah. Why haven't you been? What's holding you back?
I'm getting there. I'm going to Costa Rica in March, other than the money, um, I'm going to get there one day. I don't um, not see that in my near future because traveling is something that I love to do.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think traveling and seeing the world and learning about different cultures and different foods
Mm,
is so important to figure out where we each fit in. And we miss out on so much if we don't do that. So many experiences that we couldn't even imagine are out there if we don't
yeah.
travel and explore the world. So I hear you on that. So would you rather take a cold shower on a hot day or a hot bath on a cold day?
I would rather take a cold shower on a hot day.
Pennsylvania doesn't get all that hot all the time.
Well, I mean, I am getting older and hot flashes do happen more often than
Fair enough.
not. So, but cold also reduces inflammation. So it's very rejuvenating. It makes your skin feel, what's the word, refreshed, alive. I don't know. Have you ever done ice baths?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. It's kind of like that same thing, right? It's like, it just makes you feel alive and it's like you want to do it again. I used to take cold showers up until November and it gets freezing here and I know that's insane, but
No, no, I totally hear that. I do take cold showers with some frequency for that reason too. I agree. It's good for the skin. It's good for the soul. It's good for the immune system. Um,
absolutely.
so, would you rather get to your destination quickly and spend more time there, or take your time and enjoy the journey instead?
I would rather take my time and enjoy the journey because you meet people along the way, and you may never meet those people again. So to take the time and learn them and understand them will make your destination so much more fulfilled, because then you can just sit there and just reminisce and be like, wow, my heart is full because I've learned so much along the way.
I like that. I like that a lot. And life is all about the journey. I think it's never about the destination. There's never,
Mm-mm.
I mean, we set destinations, but do we ever really get there? Probably
No.
not. It's all about the journey and enjoying the ride for what it is. All right, the oddest and last question: would you rather have a cat that barks or a dog that meows?
Can I have them both?
Well, if you had to pick one, which one would it
Oh
be?
man. Um, I would do a dog that meows.
That
Yeah.
was that was my go-to as well. My thinking was simply that probably easier to train a dog to not meow than it is to train a cat to not bark. But
Yeah, and the barking on a cat isn't as cute as it would be on a dog. I mean, it's cute to hear a dog meow, because then they'd be more cat-like. The cat would just be an ass. So yeah, I'm good. I'll do the dog with the meow.
all right, fair enough. Now, I started a new part of this podcast where the previous guest gets to ask a question, and they don't know who the next guest is.
Mm,
But so the last person was Milena Stojanovic. I just finished recording with her yesterday. And the
mm.
question she has for you is, and I think you're a perfect person to answer this question: what is the one thing that people do that gives you hope for humanity?
When people give genuinely and authentically, and then you can feel that energy, that is to me what feels the most fulfilling, and I would definitely love to see more people who are authentically, genuinely giving.
I love that. I think it's all about giving and sharing, and it
Hmm.
goes back to that being a good person and doing good things in the world. Well, it's now your turn. You get to ask the next guest a question of your own. And again, you don't know who that person is. I don't know when we're recording,
Hmm.
but your question will be asked to the next guest on this podcast. So, what would you like to pass forward as a question to the next guest?
What are you most afraid of in life, and what is keeping you from exposing that fear to create a possibility to you, as to break that?
I like that. That's a good question. That's a good coaching question too. I like that a lot. Uh, awesome, Danielle. Fantastic. Where can people reach out to you if they want to connect with you, if they want to hire you as a coach, if they want to find out more about you? What's the best way to reach out to you?
Sure. There's multiple places, so you can either go to my website at www.thedragongem.life, or you can go to Facebook at The Dragon Gem, or you can go to Instagram, the_dragon_gem.
That's fantastic, and I'll make sure all those links are in the description below for anybody to find real easily to connect with you, however they chose to. So, any last words from you to the world?
Do unto others as you would like done to yourself, no matter how much it pains you. Trust me and believe me, it works out for you in the end.
That's awesome. I love that. Well, thank you so much. This has been wonderful conversation that it's so many twists and turns that I could have never had with anyone else but you. So thank you for doing this.
Thank you for having me, Felix.
All right, I really hope you enjoyed that. The questions that I asked towards the end are from my new book, The Simple Networking Tool. It's a great book that redefines how we network. It's all about who someone is and not what they are. So if you want to get your own book, it's available on Amazon. If you want to learn more, there's videos about it here on YouTube. So you can check out this amazing new social science experiment. I'm so excited for it. if you do get a book and you do start your own, please let me know how it goes and what your experience is like. I'm working on the second edition and I want to make it the best one yet. So be sure to tag me, let me know how it goes. Thanks for watching.